Hello, beautiful beings of light. I'm here in Los Angeles, California at the Hilton Hotel. This is the third day of the Conscious Life Expo conference, spiritual conference. A very beautiful situation is happening here every year, twice a year actually. And I'm here with Prageet. Hello, Prageet.
Hi.
Prageet is a wonderful being of light, a teacher. First time I met him in 2010 in Mount Shasta, California, where I experienced workshop with the Stargate. At that time, I had no idea what that is. I went because I felt I should go, and what happened is I had an extremely strong experience, something that I can't explain because it has to be felt. And now when I learned from Prageet's newsletter that he's coming to Los Angeles, I came and I attended this Stargate workshop 3 times, and I didn't know what to expect because I didn't know whether it was Mount Shasta or what was happening 4 years ago when I first experienced that, but I can tell that it was much more powerful experience now, even though we're not in Mount Shasta, we're in LA. And I think this is a very important thing, and something extraordinary is happening with the Stargate, and that's why I asked Prageet to answer a few questions and to record a short video before his last workshop in Los Angeles, California, before he leaves back to Mount Shasta, I believe. So Prageet, thank you so much for finding time and
it's great.
being here with me.
It's really great.
So can you first tell me how did this first occur that you built something like this behind us? It's actually a Stargate. How big is it, and how did it happen?
Well, this Stargate's about 3.5 meters high, and we have them in different sizes. What happened was about 25, 26 years ago, I spontaneously started to channel. It wasn't something that I intended to do, it just happened one day, and it actually started during a massage I was having. Well, my guide Alcazar came through and introduced himself to me. I was very skeptical. I didn't believe it at first. But after working with him for a while, he gave me lots of demonstrations about the reality of this whole channeling process. And after working with him for about a year, he asked me to build a structure. He said it's going to be a Stargate, and he gave me a picture in my mind. And as you can see, it's a very large, complicated thing. You can see it behind us. And so since then, for 25 years, he's been showing us how to actually work with this. And the amazing thing is, and also the difficult thing to believe sometimes, is that this structure actually has a consciousness. And it's that consciousness that works with us individually and as a group when we work in groups. And you said that you could feel the power of it. Well, it touches people in different ways. But basically, the way that we work with it is that consciousness, we ask it to vibrate all the way up through the dimensions. So it starts vibrating at a 12th dimensional level. Then when it's in that space, the people around it start to vibrate at that level also. And you become far more sensitive to the many benevolent beings that are available in these other dimensions to help us.
And you say it affects or it works with our DNA.
It's a really simple process. The vibrations of the Stargate help people become more sensitive to these various beings. The Ascended Masters, for example. And we know some of them. There's Mary and Jesus and Buddha and Krishna and all the various beings that have been enlightened at a certain point. They've left the body, but they're still very available. But not only just the masters that have been human and have lived the human experience. There's also many star families. The Pleiadians, for example, work a lot with the Stargate. The Arcturians, the Hathors, and on and on. There's very many different groups. So what we do is once we've created that 12th dimensional energy field, we invite them to come into the room one at a time. And you can actually feel their energy coming into the room. And I know because you've experienced that, yeah. And so as they come into the space, their frequency, their vibration vibrates our DNA. And we have millions of parts to our DNA, both physical and also higher dimensional DNA. But most of it right now in humanity is actually dormant, it's not functioning.
Mm-hmm.
And the vibration of these beings and the vibration of the Stargate start to reactivate parts of the DNA. And as that happens, change happens for people. Sometimes it's psychic abilities that are open up, sometimes it's past life memory experiences that open up, sometimes physical healing has even happened for people. We never know what is going to happen. It depends on the individual because we're all so absolutely unique.
Well, I consider it almost a miracle that something like this is available to humanity now, and I am feeling extremely grateful for this. And you were saying yesterday that when they were, before they told you about this, that you should construct something like this, they were asking themselves whether the humanity is ready for that?
Yes, that's what Alcazar told us, was that there's actually a discussion, in a sense, beyond the veil as to whether humanity were ready to receive such a leading-edge device. And in the end, it was decided, okay, let's give it to them and see.
And I noticed that you often work with Pleiadians, and many people, even on YouTube, constantly search for who Pleiadians really are. Could you give us a brief opinion, or what do you think is the main role of Pleiadian beings of light?
Well, I don't know about a main role. They're basically another civilization. If you regard humanity as a whole as a civilization, the Pleiadians are simply on another planetary system. They are far more advanced than us, but they're just one of the many what we call star families, like the Arcturans, the Hathors, and so on. So the Pleiadians have a really special connection to humanity because they've actually lived amongst us, as many other of the races have from the stars. The Hathors, for example, lived in the time of Egypt, and you can still see there's very large statues in Egypt of the Hathors. So the Pleiadians, they come to humanity when they're asked. It's not something that's imposed, but you can invite them, you can welcome them. They come to our workshops and they assist people in what they call balancing, a healing process. And some very magical things have happened. As I said before, even physical healing has happened for some people.
So they come through the Stargate?
They don't come through the Stargate. The Stargate creates this 12th dimensional energy which enables us to feel them more easily.
More easily.
Yeah.
So could we call the Stargate like dimensional travel?
It's a dimensional doorway. It's actually made up of sacred geometry. Some of the sacred geometry, as you can look at it, is familiar. You can see perhaps the pyramid at the top. Some of the other angles are sacred geometry, but actually sacred geometry which exists in the higher dimensions. And it's the mixture of the various geometries that allows it to be this doorway, so to speak, a place where we can access more easily other dimensional realities.
In your workshops, you also offer something that is called working with your quantum self.
We do. The quantum self it's an interesting thing. It's an aspect of your humanness, but for so many generations, humans have been so unconscious, our vibration has been so low, we haven't been able to access that aspect of ourselves. And in fact, it's kind of difficult to really grasp the concept in your mind because the quantum self doesn't exist in time or space. It's part of your greater awareness. It's often called a superconsciousness. So humanity is just beginning to awaken to a certain level of awareness, of intention, of consciousness, where you can now reconnect to that which has always been there, but we haven't been sensitive enough to actually feel it and use it. Only few people have achieved that. They're the ones that we call the enlightened ones. So those that have become enlightened actually live from that quantum self aspect.
Beautiful. So now, if we want to experience Stargate, if our beautiful viewers want to attend your workshop, what should they do?
Well, it depends if they want to travel or whether they're going to wait for us to come to their country.
So let's say what if they are on the other side of the world and right now you're not going there. You have a website, right?
We have a website, and it's called thestargateexperience.com, and on there is a calendar of events. We do come to Europe at least once a year. In fact, we're going to be going to Eastern Europe again later on this year. We'll be in Slovenia and Bulgaria. Also, if people want to travel, we do a lot of stuff here in the States, particularly in Mount Shasta, where we live. And Mount Shasta is a very powerful energy spot, as you know. The energy of the mountain and the many beings that live within the mountain in the inner city called Telos, their energy plus the magnification of the Stargate makes incredible experiences happen.
Mm-hmm. Tell us, that's Lemuria, right?
Not quite. Lemuria used to be an old continent which was in the Pacific, which sank eons ago, and there's a small part of it left. The Hawaiian Islands used to be part of Lemuria. Many of the Lemurian masters, when it started to sink, stepped out of time and out of this physical reality and moved into the inner earth of Telos. Our physical earth is solid all the way through, but on the higher dimensions, it's not. And so these beings are existing within the earth. There's many Lemurian masters that actually come to the workshops that we do. That hasn't been the focus here in LA, but many times, especially in Mount Shasta, the Lemurian masters, and you can feel them coming up from below. They join us by coming up into the room. Yeah.
Fantastic. I also want to say that I purchased 3 CDs yesterday with Prageet's meditation, with the Stargate's energies, and I can testify it was extremely powerful experience, even at home in my living room. So people can purchase or download these meditations?
Yes, they're available online, either as CDs or we can download them in the MP3 format. And basically, they're designed to help people work with the Stargate, even if you don't have a physical one. Because as I said earlier, the Stargate has a consciousness. It's almost like an individual being. And so you can call for the energy of the Stargate, this etheric Stargate we call it, the consciousness of the Stargate. And it will come to you in a meditation. And the CDs guide you through a series of 3 meditations on each CD, and they progress. They take you deeper and deeper through the experience. And so you can have this energetic experience and support just by listening to the CDs. Because even though the words on the CDs are recorded, the energy and the guides that come are always a response to you in the moment when you're meditating with those words.
And I can, that's just last thing that we will talk about, because I think people really need to hear this. We were doing a meditation yesterday, and we had this transmission of the quantum self energies, and Prageet said that they usually do it twice, 2 transmissions. And I felt so good, and I felt it was so strong, and I just, within myself, with my inner voice, said, please guys, do 1 more. And in the same moment, Prageet said to all of the people in the workshop, okay, well, my guides are telling me we're going to do 1 more because you are an advanced group. So I just want you to share what you think about asking for what we want and about wishing or intending.
That's great that you brought that up, because the guides respond to your intention, not just to your words. You can say, oh, I would like this, but if you really feel it, if you really mean it, then there'll be a real strong response. It might not be in that second as it was with you. Your intention was really strong, and you actually created
please
a change that supported exactly that. Yeah, and of course the energies of the group were there, and that made it easier. But individually, it's really important just to ask for what you want. Ask for the support. And very often people ask, well, give me this, rather than saying, give me this, rather than say, what do I need to do in order to receive it? What do I need to let go so that abundance will come to me, for example? What do I need to do within me so that I can create a more perfect relationship? for example. So we ask your guides, what do you need to change? Because you are the one that's limiting what you're experiencing in your life. So you need to change in order to receive more, on whatever level you wish to receive more. So it's not about asking the guides to do something. It's about asking for support so that you can change in order to receive the kind of life that you'd like to experience.
Beautiful. And I just want to add, when I attended 2 workshops and then I meditated with the CDs last night, and then when I went to sleep, it felt like the work was continuing, and I had a strong release in my solar plexus, maybe 2 hours prior to until I fall asleep. So the work probably, we get a download and then it continues maybe in the upcoming hours, days, weeks.
Very often, yeah. Yeah. When you meditate with the Stargate energies, they move very deeply. And then there's a kind of an integration period where your energy is rebalanced to what you've just received. So yes, that's very likely what was happening.
Thank you so much for building the Stargate and for just bringing this gift to us, to the third dimension.
Oh, my pleasure. I mean, it's an incredible gift to be able to just share this with the world.
Yes.
We take it around virtually the whole world.
So if you want to invite
Prageet
to your town or to your country, we can find, we will add the link to his website with the contact information under the video. And we thank you for watching. And Prageet, thank you so much.
My pleasure.
For being here with us.
Absolutely, my pleasure. And on our website, you can access free meditations also. So we constantly continue to add things.
Okay, beautiful.
Right.
Bye.
Bye.